As you may remember or perhaps have read in the bulletin, my name is Friar John Paul. I'm a Franciscan priest of the Sacred Heart province, the Midwest province. I'm originally from New York. I used to talk funny, but now I've been living over here for 33 years over here in the Midwest, so now I talk like that. I'm a former police officer. I always say my conversion was NYPD Blue to Franciscan Brown. The story of my conversion. And I will be leading the parish mission, which begins this evening at 7:30 at St. Marceline's, continuing on Monday and Tuesday evenings, also at 7:30. Many of you may also have read or know that I am a first responder and a chaplain for the men and women of the Illinois State Police, same as Father Hal over at St. Marceline. I'm the one that very often I'm called out in the middle of the night. Actually, I got a call last night at 2:40 in the morning to respond to a fatal accident. I'm the one that has to come to your door at 2, 3 in the morning and tell you that someone you love was killed on the highways of our state. A very difficult job, but a very powerful one, to be the presence of Jesus at these moments, difficult moments for families to receive that kind of news. And many of these accidents are a result of road rage that we hear so much about. Reminds me of a story of a young mother. Her name was Barb, and Barb was raising 3 kids on her own. And what was happening, she was very active in the kids' school, she was very active in her church, but all of the stress was starting to get to her. Barb was becoming angry more often. She was getting impatient very often at work, with her children, with many people in her lives. She started to isolate more and more. And they saw it affecting her work and her health in general. One particular weekend, Barb was planning a birthday party for 2 of her children. And so she asked her boss if she could get off work early on Friday. It was around the holidays, so it was all that added stress of the holiday time. And it seemed like everybody else had the same idea, because it took Barb almost 20 minutes just to get out of the parking lot. When she finally got on the highway, the traffic was bumper to bumper. And Barb was cutting people off, cutting in front of them, sometimes cutting a car across 3 lanes. People would beep at her, and she would beep right back and give them a dirty look or that funny wave. When she finally got to her exit, she gets to her exit and she cuts up on the shoulder to get in front of a car that she felt was going too slow. And then there was another car right in front of her that was going even slower, and they both got caught in the light. And Barb had her hand on the horn, and she was banging on the dashboard. Finally, the light turns green, and the woman wasn't moving fast enough, so Barb was back on the horn. And then the woman noticed that her little one got out of the car seat in the back. And so she turns around to put the little one back in the car seat, and Barb's back on the horn again, and she gets through the light, catching Barb at the red light once again. Smoke was coming out of Barb's ears. Boy, if you could have heard what she was saying, a trucker would be embarrassed. Finally, she's startled by someone banging on her window, and she looks up, and it's a police officer with his gun drawn. He orders Barb out of the car. He cuffs her, puts her in the back seat of the squad car, takes her into the local jail, and locks her up in a cell. Now, Barb is in shock. She's stunned, wondering what is going on. What seemed like hours went by. And finally, another police officer came to her cell and said, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, there's been a mistake." She was not too happy. When they took her to the front desk, there was the arresting officer. He says, "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but I had to explain what happened." He said, "You see, I was in an unmarked squad car, and I was following you. I was watching you, what you were doing and how you were driving. And finally, when I pulled up behind you, I noticed on the back of your car you had 2 bumper stickers. One of them says, 'Jesus saves.' The other one said, 'Prayer is the answer.' And I watched your behavior, and I assumed that the car was stolen." You see, Barb professed her faith with her bumper stickers, but not with her action. Not with her life. You know, our gospel today that we saw so beautifully enacted is about seeing. It's about witnessing. And it's about following Jesus. Not with our bumper stickers, but with our lives. In that gospel, Jesus encounters the man born blind. And Jesus cures him. And the Pharisees saw this as this revolutionary. They interpreted his actions as someone who disobeys the law of Sabbath. Someone who doesn't follow the law of Moses. The people saw Jesus' action as a miracle worker. Someone who could give them something they wanted. But for the man who was born blind, he sees Jesus in a new way. And it's a progression in his faith. First of all, he sees Jesus as a man. He says, that man Jesus. He made the mud, he put it on my eyes and told me to go to Siloam to wash. And then when he's confronted by the Pharisees, he says that he is a prophet. And then when he's pushed once again, he is challenged. He says he is a man of God. Because otherwise, how could he have performed such an awesome miracle if he was not of God? And we saw how he was expelled from the temple. And then Jesus seeks him out. And once again, he moves to a depth of faith. When Jesus says, do you believe in the Son of God, the Son of Man? And he says, tell me who he is, sir, I may believe. He says, I am he. And he worships and bows down. He worships because he sees Jesus as truly the one, the Son of God, the one they have waited for, the Prince of Peace. As we begin our parish mission this evening, we will reflect on what it means to be instruments of peace. With our lives, not with just our bumper stickers. How we are called to be those instruments, to recapture the peace that the Lord gave to that man, that the Lord gives to all of us if we but ask. Our parish mission has a message for our junior high students, to our wonderful senior citizens, and everyone in the middle. 1 hour and a half as we gather tonight at 7:30 at St. Marcel's. And I have a suggestion. Don't come alone. Bring a family member or a friend. Maybe someone who hasn't been to church for a while. Maybe they're angry at the church. Maybe they're angry at God for a recent loss in their life. Maybe a medical diagnosis, their own or someone they love. Maybe they're really struggling. They've lost peace because of this difficult financial time. And they need to find that peace once again. Invite them to come along to our parish mission. Each evening we take an offering for Franciscan ministries, the ministries that I am involved in, to a soup kitchen, our shelter, and scholarships for our young men on the south side of Chicago, to make a difference in their lives. 1 hour and a half. And remember, if you don't come, we know where you live. My sisters and brothers, even today, people see Jesus as a problem, just like the Pharisees did. Or some people see him just as a miracle worker, someone who gives us what we want if we just say the right words or ask in the right way, like the crowds. But for those of us who see with eyes of faith, like the man born blind, we see Jesus for who he truly is, that Son of God, the Prince of Peace, who challenges us to see with eyes of faith, to see one another, to see our world, to see our church, and to be challenged to see with those eyes. Because Jesus is the one who comes to give sight to those who are blind and to blind those who claim that they can see. Because it's about seeing not only with 2 eyes, but seeing with eyes of faith and proclaiming that gospel not with our bumper stickers, but with our lives. How do you see him?